A new show brought to you by the nominees for Fragments of Silicon.
All right, welcome to a very special edition of the Fragments of Silicon Daylight interviews. Special in that we're deviating from our usual subject matter to go into something, I don't want to say esoteric, but certainly a lot different than what we usually cover. It's like, because joining us this week, we have Mario of Kawaii Games / World of LongPlays. So,
Hello.
hello. Right. So, I suppose we should start out by asking, what is a long?
Long play. Well, let's say back in 2005, few people came to the idea of recording a video game from the beginning to the end, like the whole game playthrough, so people can watch that in a form of a movie. You take a popcorn, you sit down, and you watch the whole game without playing it, and that how long play was born. So basically, long play is the footage of the complete game in a single video.
And from the sound of things, you were there on the ground floor. Is that a correct assumption?
Yeah, well, almost. I joined around 2006, 2007. Let's just say the first person who ever recorded a long play. I probably gonna butcher the name. It's called Reinhard Klinksik or something like that. And he was the first person in the world to record a Commodore 64 game, and thus the Commodore 64 game website was born, and that's how they actually started the recording. And then we picked it up. After that, we saw the idea, and we actually thought it was cool. And yeah, we started like back in 2006. Our YouTube channel was opened, but the original website was called Recorded Amiga Games. That was 2005, if I'm not mistaken, and few people were recording Amiga long plays back then and putting them on a website. And later, after that team dissolved and the idea was actually kind of abandoned, then some of them came and we formed this team that's alive still nowadays.
So what was that, about 2007, 2008?
2006, we started, we opened the World of LongPlays YouTube channel. The date was, let's say, day before my birthday, so it was 17th of June, and 2006 was when our channel was born. We were there before the YouTube was just beginning, so there was no this big hype about YouTube videos, no monetization. You couldn't
YouTube
earn
videos
money.
were like 15 minutes each.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Not in 2006.
Say again.
Later. Like, YouTube videos were unrestricted, like, in the beginning. Then they tried the 10-minute length in order to curb piracy. It didn't work, but it was their idea. Then it went to 15 minutes, and then it went to as long as you want.
Yeah. But these old channels, these old accounts that were opened back in the day, they were called Premiere accounts, and they were actually they had unlimited video length to upload. Not nowadays, if you open it, I think it's 12 hours limit, and then you have to create another part. But back then, if you had a Premiere account, if you opened back then, you can still keep the same settings for your channel. Like you would still have the unlimited
Yeah, my
time.
personal account is unlimited upload.
Yeah,
Unlimited
same.
length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of
And
cool
also,
back in the day. Like that you could do that, but then they kind of limited because many people started uploading, and it obviously wasn't like unknown as back in the day when it was only like a few of us were uploading, not like millions as nowadays.
yeah. And did you have any inclination that this project would be lasting around about 19 going on 20 years?
No, back then I was at the university, and I actually stumbled upon the World of LongPlays website, and I actually there were only like dozens of videos there. There weren't that many, like for some from NES, SNES, and like back then it wasn't that like easy to record as it's nowadays. Because mostly the technology wasn't on the level that it's nowadays. Like even the emulators for the retro consoles that actually allow you to do a perfect recordings nowadays were only in their like primal state. Like they were only beginning to emerge, so nothing was perfect. Like you had a hard time to do like a footage for YouTube, not unlike nowadays where you can do 4K resolution for the NES games if you want. But back then people didn't have that choice. So yeah, we only started doing that for fun, and I saw the website, and I actually I just contacted the team. I think it was only 5 or 6 of us actually in the beginning. Later the team grew. Many people came and go because it's a long span of years. But some of us stayed, like the original members. Some of us stayed up until this day. Yeah, but we never had an idea that it's gonna be like what it's nowadays, like coming close to 1.5 million subscribers. And now there are other websites, other YouTube channels that have the same idea, do similar things. But yeah, we were the first ones to kind of got into that. And yeah, let's say we were the pioneers of long playing video games on YouTube. Yeah.
No doubt, though. Like, I don't think a lot of the other channels, if you will, use the word long plays. I see like playthrough, no commentary, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like nowadays these terms have evolved also because now you can get like walkthrough, playthrough, long play, let's play, whatever you name it. Just depends on kind of a content you do. And sometimes even if the people do like do a long play with no commentary, they still would do like would say walkthrough or whatever, because I'd say that the term walkthrough is now more common nowadays with modern audience. They just recognize the word more than a long play. So that's why a lot of people still use the newer terms, just because everyone is accustomed to that.
I mean, walkthrough isn't a new term, though. I mean, that's a thing that's existed for decades, even before long plays were ever a thing.
In
But
print
because
media, there were walkthrough guides
yeah,
in various magazines.
yeah.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
fact, that does bring me to my next question, because a walkthrough is actually a different thing than, or at least potentially, to a long play. Because as I understand it, a long play is playing through the game. A walkthrough is, an actual guide. Now, do you endeavor to 100% a game, or is it just, if you're playing, say, The Legend of Zelda, you're just going through all the dungeons and not getting the extra bits?
Well, let's say that nowadays we do incline to do everything, to show everything possible from each title, because as the time went on, we actually we kind of decided that this project is gonna be considered as the video game museum, digital museum, where we're gonna try and cover every game ever released for the retro consoles and try to record them all, and in the form of preserving them, because nowadays, you know yourself, a lot of video games are disappearing. Like even like the companies who own the rights, they just go out of business, like the rights don't exist anymore, and the games are not selling anywhere. So a lot of titles you can't really buy or get to. So we're kind of trying to preserve the history of gaming in a video format, like where everything would be recorded for like digital museum, where people would be able to click on the title and watch the whole game without even.
And not only that, but games getting updates. Sometimes portions of the games get changed or removed.
Yes, that too. Obviously, with the modern standards and the changing industry is changing rapidly. So a lot of these older games are not looking the same. If they're remade or re-released, there would be something else added to the game.
Updates. There are some games that got updates to change their entire ending.
It's not just updates, but it's re-releases can change a game in its own way.
Right.
Like through emulation, the emulation may not be particularly good.
Hell, Sonic gameplay has changed considerably since the invention of the drop dash.
I mean, hell, a good example of all games, Ridge Racer 64 just dropped on the NSO yesterday at time of broadcast.
Yeah.
And that actually has a problem with the picture-in-picture Jumbotron.
Right, because that was a fun little trick with the chips on the N64 that even hasn't been able to done well in emulation.
Yeah, and that's a thing that persists to Nintendo's own Switch emulation. So even they haven't figured that particular problem out.
Yeah.
So,
and like the original hardware was also different than nowadays, and some games don't like they're so hardware specific that nowadays if you play them, they're not emulated perfectly, not even by the official company that actually made the game. So that's the thing, like.
Right. That does beg the question, do you use original hardware to record your long plays? Has that always been the case, or has emulation come into the scene in the sense that, like back in, say, 2008, were you recording off of, say, SNES or something like that?
As the channel evolved, and obviously the whole, I'd say, idea of doing this evolved. So our rules changed. Before, when we only started, we were like scraping whatever we could get, emulator, console, whichever, and then we didn't have any specific rules. But nowadays, like since we are actually more spoiled for choice, now we actually have a rule. So each game has to be recorded in its original resolution. If it's using the original hardware, then it's not a problem because it's output like that. If you're using emulator, it mustn't be upscaled, it mustn't be changed. Like this has to be preserved in the exact state as it was originally looking.
No lighting or shader mods or anything.
No, nothing. Because if it's a museum, we want to keep the pristine appearance of the game. So because nowadays it's easy to take a PS1 game, for example, and then do like a lot of graphical enhancements, pixel smoothing, and stuff, and the game would look 10 times better than originally. So our rules are always like we use both, either our emulator or the original hardware. That's fine, but as long as you're using each, it has to be original appearance of the game. So that's what I also do on my private channel. I also do like 4K of old games, but I keep them as they are. Like I don't change. I don't like enhance graphics. Same is for the LongPlays. We keep like everything to look pristine and preserved in its original state.
Okay. Yeah, that does make sense. And this is a topic of conversation that cropped up pretty frequently on this program, since we know a lot of people who are in the various retro scenes, let's say.
We got in a room with Steven.
Not just them, but the Digital Eclipse people, or like the various developers in the Game Boy scene.
Indeed.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of it, a lot more than people may first know. But anyway, now how obscure do you guys get in terms of system? Like, I mean, obviously you cover the hits, the PlayStations, the NESs, but do you do the Jaguars, the CDIs, the 3DOs, and etc.,
The
etc.,
Wonder
etc.?
Swan.
Yeah, actually, we do. Yeah, so
Oh,
our aim is to cover every system. So we do. If you go to the World of LongPlays.org, the website, if you go to the videos, and when the tab opens, you would get the systems by company, by year, and you would see that every system is there, and it says exactly how many games are recorded. So yes, we do everything from Virtual Boy to like Famicom Disk System or arcade, whatever, or like Master System, and then the SSG 1000, the lesser known Master System model. So yeah, we do everything. So we wanna make a complete museum of everything, every system that there was, up to the Engage, Nokia Engage also. Let's mention that of like one of the more rare ones. So everything, yeah, we do everything.
I mean, the N-Gage could qualify as a museum piece because that's nearing 20 years old if it's not already turned.
God.
Yeah, the
I'm
the
looking
side
at my
talking.
PlayStation 3 fat on my shelf like, oh no, you're old enough to be considered retro, friend.
Yeah, well, now PS3 is coming to the retro stage, so
I'm
yeah.
aware, and it makes my soul want to leave my body.
Yeah, we're getting old. I know.
Damn you, linear progression of time.
Also,
Yeah.
my
Like-
360 that's sitting on my desk. God, I'm old.
Also becoming retro soon, yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
where's my
Yeah.
butterscotch candies at? Jesus.
Yeah, but then when PS4 gets to retro, I guess then I will definitely start like worrying that I'm getting old.
Technically speaking, those are already retro. Like the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One are older than people think because they're still being supported. But they came out in 2013.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. Yeah.
that was so they're already 12 years old.
The tech producer is currently having an existential crisis in the back. Don't mind me.
That's the second one this week.
I think like a rule of a thumb is it needs to be like I think 2 generations old. So yeah, once the PS6 is out, we can say yeah, definitely.
So is there a cutoff rule to long plays? Like, do you not do long plays of PlayStation 4 games or PlayStation 3 games?
No, we do everything. So basically, we want to cover everything, but obviously we know that it's impossible because the games keep being released. But we focus more. Like we record, like whoever plays, we play whatever we want, we record whatever we want. But sometimes we have like some more urgent goal. For example, now we have a goal to like complete the Master System, NES, and these old really old consoles. We want to do the whole. We only have like maybe less than 100 games to do for each some of these actually systems. So we are aiming to complete that now. But obviously PS4, PS5, and like these consoles, not many of us play these newer games, but mostly we focus on the older ones for now. But any game that wants to be recorded, yeah, person can take and play.
Well, yeah, I'm sure the level of impossibility, so to speak, it depends on the system we're talking about here. Like, it's not hard to do the entire Atari Jaguar library since it only has like officially 50 games. Even if you bring in the homebrew scene, that's still not adding a whole lot to the mix.
Yeah.
As opposed to say the NES, which has like over 1,000 games.
Yeah. So, but the thing is also that today's emulators, some of them are built to actually help us do these kind of videos. So what we can do, we can do like we can record the game, we use the save states and like do the perfect playthrough of a game, and then just basically if you make a mistake, you can just revert to that exact moment and just keep going. So like it's easy to complete a game in a shorter span of time than what would take you to just sit and practice and like get good at the game. So it's nowadays these modern technology enabled us to do this on a higher level and with more efficiency, regardless of have you played the game before or not. You can just complete the game really easy. That's how advanced emulators nowadays are.
I've been streaming Digimon World 3 on the channel, and I've been using a speed up in the emulator to get through some of the slow parts and like
Frame Advance, yeah.
Right.
I think it's just like double time fast forward or whatever.
You can also slow down if there's like really crazy part. You can slow down. You can get it perfect.
It's an RPG, so it's more like speeding up the battle animations I've already seen.
Yeah.
And like breaking past some of the loading points because it's waiting for a disc to access because it's a PS1 game, but it doesn't need that because it's running on my SSD.
Yeah, so basically that's the thing. Like you can do nowadays, you can do whatever you want with these, like with emulators, especially. Like it's really easy to record like 10 games in a day. If you're like have time and you're good at it, you can just take 10 NES games that are not obviously RPGs but like platformers and stuff. You can record a couple in a day. So it does go quite fast, especially for these older games. And I'd say up to PS3, PS4, we definitely will complete the whole libraries. After that, I don't know. We'll see.
That does bring me to another question about your own legacy, let's say. Do you go back and redo long plays? Like, say you recorded something for the Sega Genesis in 2009. Would you, like, given the advances in technology, would you go back and say, you know, if you had a Sonic the Hedgehog long play from that era, would you do another one?
Yeah, the answer is yes, definitely. So as the emulators progressed, the technology became more accurate to the original console. So some games, or like in regards of frame rates, of even up to the point of a sound pitch that's in like difference between PAL or NTSC versions. So anything like it became more accurate with the modern emulators. So a lot of these are not how would I say perfect when we're done. We're not perfect when we were done like in 2009-10. So yes, we would go back and redo all the titles that we deem that could benefit or are not presentable up to the standard of the modern emulators and stuff. So yeah, definitely we, especially these like older retro consoles, we definitely go back. And even if the game was like badly played sometimes and we feel that we could do it better, you can always take your own video and say, okay, I'm gonna do another version. But if the video is okay, like for example resolution wise and sound wise, and then just gameplay is not too perfect, sometimes you would prioritize doing something that's not recorded over something that's already done. But if you have time, you're free to tackle. Yeah, definitely we are redoing all the older titles, especially like over 7-8 years older than nowadays.
Okay, and do you keep the old ones around, or do you get rid of those?
We keep them on YouTube because they accumulate a lot of views and likes over time, because they were released back in the day when they had no competition. So they were like they were like a lot. They had a lot of watch time, and like so they come out in the search results up to the top of the YouTube search. So we keep them, but on the website we always remove them and we put the most current one, because on the website people can download our videos. If they don't want to watch it on YouTube, they can go to the website and they can download the video onto their computer and watch it like that in video player. And also the quality from the raw it's not raw video, but it's YouTube always compresses the videos when you upload them, but these videos are actually the same as the person encoded who recorded the game, so they are better quality than the ones on YouTube, especially for these 4K games. So yeah, we keep the old ones. On YouTube we keep all versions. On website we only keep the current one.
That makes sense, especially given that you know preservation is one of your end goals. It probably wouldn't be the best of looks if you know got rid of your old stuff.
No. Especially as I've said, like some algorithm wise on YouTube, some of these videos, even they're really old, they would always come up in the top of the search over the recent versions we put out. These old ones would come, and then we can always put a link in the description for the updated version, but keep the old one. I mean, I do that on my private channel also. That's just the best way to approach these things. You always keep your old video, no matter how bad quality is, and just put a link to the updated one through that one. So you'll get a double click, as I say. You get double watch time. So people will click on both videos. But wanted to go back to the website. So yeah, having the videos to be able to download from the website brings us to let's say maybe one of the biggest problems we might face in this kind of approach is that people would often download these videos and re-upload them to their own YouTube channels.
Right.
Yeah.
That's been a problem forever.
Yeah. And especially since our videos, we don't use any watermarks on it or anything, because we just want to keep the game pristine to look exactly how it would look on your TV. So there's no watermarks or anything. I do watermarks on my private channel, but on the World of LongPlays we don't. So a lot of thousands of videos on the website are there to download, and there's no watermarks, so people can just re-upload them. And some people take this to the really big extremes. They would upload hundreds or thousands to their channels, and obviously they would never accumulate any big following or subscriber count. They would just have maybe 20 subscribers, and they would have 700 videos, and there would be 0 views on all of them. But we definitely, through the YouTube copyright engine, we could see that they're all matching our videos. So yeah, a lot of people will try to make a quick fame that way.
Yeah. Content ID has as problematic as it can be, has gotten more sophisticated these past years.
Yeah, it's much better nowadays. As long as you go to your copyright tab, you can see the match and how much percent of the video is actually taken, and yeah, you definitely can get the idea if the video is yours or not.
Right. It's also I wouldn't say that the World of LongPlays stuff doesn't have no watermark. It usually has something at the beginning.
Yes, yeah, it has alias of the long player, has the website, and just has the name of the game. But that's maybe 3-4 seconds. But people cut that out sometimes, and they upload video without that.
But that's a tell right there.
Yeah, we can see, for example, if the video is 20 minutes and 50 seconds long, and then his video is 20 minutes and 45 seconds. We know that he cut this part out. But some people are so lazy that they just re-upload. They don't even cut.
Right. But I know the copycat channels weren't the only perpetrators of, I guess, for a lack of a better term, long play theft, because there were so-called professional channels that would snatch up gameplay footage without proper accreditation, and I assume that happened with the World of LongPlays stuff.
Yeah, but we have the approach. For example, if a channel takes the footage of us. Obviously, I do the same on my private channel. Whenever people ask me, "Oh, can I use clips from your videos, from my review video or whatever, or a background. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, as long as you credit the channel and you're not uploading my whole video, if you take like minute or 2 minutes, whatever, I don't care. It's fine, man. Even like use it whatever you for whatever you want, as long as it's not the complete video. Obviously, same as a LongPlays. But the thing is, we always ask people to accredit the channel. But yeah, the truth is, a lot of people like won't do that. But then for these small clips and small segments, it's hard even to bother and track them down because we have over 14,000 videos on the YouTube, so there's no really point trying to track down these like small clips. We're more like just annoyed by these channels that upload hundreds of full length videos. To no extent, they don't really gain anything. They don't earn any money. They don't get monetization because nobody watches that. It's just zero views on these videos.
Yeah. I mean, we are a long ways away from when that was actually viable, due to various factors. But
yeah,
you know, I'm sure it's still a thing that persists to this day.
Well, yes, but early, like I was there from the beginning of YouTube, so early in a day, you wouldn't have that many content creators, and it was basically unknown to be content creator. So like you wouldn't have a lot of competition. If you upload, you would be there, and some other people would be there, and like these OG YouTubers like PewDiePie or whoever, like of these bigger ones. Yeah, like they started at the right time and they were there. So nowadays, every kid wants to be a content creator. Nowadays, it's not the same. Like now, everybody is trying to put out content nowadays. Like it's so many things. Like even if they steal your video and upload it, it won't get any traction because it's saturated to a point where if you're not, I'd say if you weren't there earlier when it was easier to do this, and you start now and you're not that unique, you have a good idea, but it's actually already maybe formula that's been tried by somebody else, you would have much harder time to get traction or like get recognized.
Yeah, that does track. For good or for ill, that does track.
Yeah.
Anyway,
depends how let's say, depends how unique and how persistent you are nowadays. That's a formula to success on YouTube nowadays, I'd say.
Right.
All right. Sorry to interrupt, but I need to head out. It's been nice to hear about your project, Mario.
No problem. Have a good one.
Try and catch the rest later.
Anyway, as I was about to ask, about the World LongPlays organization. Can you call it an organization?
Yeah, let's say, yeah, we are organized. We are like there's no, we work as a team. There's no like a boss or leader. So it's we work as a team, and we always welcome new people who want to help, because over this course of almost 20 years, a lot of people left, and a lot of people came for a short span of time, and the life happens, so they lose interest, do something else. So yeah, we are like organization, but we are a team, and everyone is welcome to try and record if they want, and if they meet the standards and if they meet the requirements, we would publish their video on our channel. Obviously, if the game hasn't been done already, it has to be the game that hasn't been done so far.
Mm. And do you know how many people contribute to World of LongPlays these days?
These days, I'd say it's about going to the really active team. I'd say maybe over 14 of us. I'd say something like that, and mostly like the really active team would be less than around the 10 people, but then like some other people jump in and they do videos occasionally, and we also get like a new person liking the idea and like, oh guys, can I try this? And then we would be, yeah, sure, if you wanna, here is the rules, here are the specs, and if you wanna try and follow. And they some of them they lose interest, or it's too complicated for them, or they don't know how to use emulators, or like any factor. But like some of them actually are persistent, and they be like, oh, this is fun, and they actually put a lot of effort into it, and in the end we get like really surprised by it. And so yeah, I'd say around like 14-15 people nowadays.
And have you ever had to personally mentor some of the newer generations of long players?
Yeah. Even nowadays, as technology is constantly evolving, everything is moving forward. Even the emulators, even us OG members are also learning every day. Like we just discover new things that's been updated, or that's been changed, or it works differently, or it's better, or it's worse. So all of us actually, we constantly have to learn. So this is like I'd say this is, let's say this is like any job you would have. You constantly have to be like keep yourself in a loop to be able to thrive and just to get the best out of it. So yeah, we teach younger people who come in. They're free to come to Discord, or we have like a rules on the website. But obviously, if something is like unclear, they come to Discord. They can talk to us privately, or as I've said, we each other, even us, or the oldest members, we also help each other. Sometimes somebody discovers something that the other person didn't know, and yeah, we always share the info and practice together.
Neat. And this is all strictly volunteer, correct?
Yes. So it's basically it's not like there's no contract, there's no like obviously no requirement for like it's not a job. You're not obliged to do this. If you want to do this on a, I'd say on a team level that we all do, then like you have to do like 3 games per month minimum. It has to be, that's like a standard. If you want to be like a what I would say full member of a team, you have to like keep to a certain requirements. And if you want to just record occasionally, like once a month or once a 2 months, you can come and go as long as you want. It's fine. But if you want to be considered as official part of the team, you have to do some more not strict but more consistent things.
Okay. That is interesting. And I guess it is worth asking, how many official full-time members of the team are there today?
I'd say that's about let me say about what I've said earlier, 14 or so. And the other people who come in mostly nowadays, I think there's only like 1 or 2 persons that they record occasionally. All the other 14 or so people record regularly, and they do the requirements every month. So yeah, we don't really get a lot of people that jump in and out nowadays. It's mostly just whoever is stayed longest, and they just kept doing this because they enjoy it.
Okay, that makes sense, and that takes a particular kind of passion to do this. Not just play a game, but to play through an entire game, and play it maybe not super well, but well enough.
Yeah. So I've always say to anyone, it's same as any job you would do. Like some people like some people do these things for fun. Some people make a living out of it, and it's all good as long as you enjoy what you do, same as any other job you would have. Like, so yeah, if you enjoy doing this, and if you like playing video games, obviously some games require more like a practice, more skill. So you can't just like record a game and it looks really bad. You're just walking around, you know what you're doing. Sometimes you have to like do a practice runs and stuff like that. But as long as you have fun and enjoy it, I'd say that's what's most important. Like if you overdo this, and if you just push to make numbers and just shovel out your videos, then you will get burned out, like on any other thing you would do in your life. Like same thing, same approach,
Right.
healthy balance, and having fun above everything else.
Yeah, it's just an approach that's so opposite of what we have to do on this program, because we cover a lot of games, but we rarely, if ever, complete anything we have to review, because we cover like a game a week. I cover 2 games a week, and there's just not enough time to.
Of course, understandable.
Yeah, like the last game I think I completed was Sonic X Shadow, and that's only because I did it during the break.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, it depends. For example, on my private channel, I like record a lot of games myself, and obviously I make a living out of it on YouTube, and that's what I do. That's what I enjoy. But also, I noticed on myself, if I overdo this, I could lose fun. It would become a drag, like any other job you would do. So it's really important to keep it in a healthy balance. Like, for example, do the games, but also have a life and do stuff beside that. Because if you just shovel out all day, it would just be just burn out.
Yeah, we take like 2-week breaks every year.
Right, but that is a paradox that the big content creators are always facing, but that is perhaps beyond the scope of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, that's more of a therapy session than the scope of a podcast.
Definitely.
Well, that's more the relentless grind of the content machine for the Mr. Beasts of the world.
But sometimes it's easier if you, for example, if you have a team that's behind you and you do like you don't do everything yourself, editing and stuff like that. It's you can just focus on doing one thing. You can play or you can record a video if your channel is just yourself in a camera, but you don't have to do the rest. But if you do everything, it's different.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's why this operation, it is 3 people. Our sister show is 5 people.
Yeah.
Like.
As hilarious as it would be to watch Adam try and run tech, it's better if I run the tech.
Not just run tech, but doing an interview while playing a game, or having to have the footage there and all that stuff. That is distraction.
Definitely, I agree.
Anyway, so I suppose it's worth asking, what are you working through right now in terms of LongPlays, and what is upcoming?
Well, on the website, so each of us has our alias, and then when you log into your account, there is like a all in progress LongPlays list. So each of us puts whichever game we're working on. We can do like you can do a list by the you do like put a name of the game, and there's also a console obviously system, because there's the same game for several different systems. So you always specify which system you're working on, and then the status of the game. Is it recording? Is it encoding? Or is it uploading? Or is it uploaded? So we always make sure when we upload to each one of us to put our own stuff that we work on, and then other people don't do the same game, or we overlap, or if 2 people want to do the same game, then we sometimes can like talk and like, okay, I love this game, this holds a special place in my heart, I grew up blah blah with this game, and then okay, you have it,
or like somebody wants to do, say, the Genesis version of Aladdin, and somebody does the SNES version.
I love Genesis more than SNES version. Genesis is the one I grew up with, so I really love that one. So that's the thing. Like this, we always put we always put the games in the website, and people, or even like the people who are not in a LongPlays team, they can all open the same link on the website and they can see which games are we working on. For example, I'm working on a couple of PS1 and 64 games at the moment. So like people are always kept in a loop. Even the people who are not part of the team, they can just casually visit the website and see what's coming. And we also have a requests section on the website where people can mention the game that we don't have, or maybe it would be cool to add it to the collection. And then if some of the long players want to tackle the game and nobody else, like if nobody else takes it, you're free to take the game and play it if you want. So yeah, there's always a list of whichever title we're doing.
And does anyone else from the long play community do a pass through of a long play video before it's like formally uploaded to YouTube?
You mean do they check the videos?
Yeah.
Like we do. Yeah, sometimes some few members they scroll through the game, through the video, and see is everything sometimes like videos can desync video, and audio can like lose sync, so like it's not frame rate, especially some of the consoles are really tricky. You have to be careful when you're merging them because each one has different frame rate, and sometimes it can go wrong, or like there's like
if
maybe
you broke it between sessions and you accidentally changed something, and then one section's like 3 frames faster than it should be or whatever.
Yes, and sometimes even the software we work on, some of the consoles, it recognizes the wrong frame rate, and then what you recorded is not matched to what you encoded, so it's like not in sync, so you have to fix that, or just scroll through the video to see are there any maybe spots that are wrongly encoded, or just basically see what's been done in the game, and maybe if they realize through website or Wikipedia or any source that there's some important part of the game, like a bonuses or hidden stuff in the game that's not shown, and
they
it might be
something to let them go to the secret ending or whatever.
If there's like more than one ending, or is it some secret ending or special ending or whatever, and it's not included in the video, then they would suggest to the person who did the long play on the Discord, did you know that there is this and this in the game? Can you add that? Just because we're always striving to have the most, if not 100% shown in the game. So we definitely wanna we recheck everything once it's recorded.
Okay. Does that include say known glitches? Would you include like the minus world from Super Mario Brothers in your long play?
Well, if things are officially in the game, so if they're not fan made or homebrews or anything, then
or like that's like a cheat device or whatever.
Yeah, so if any of the whichever things are officially on the cartridge, if you take the original cartridge for NES and you put it in the original NES, and you can do the same thing on the original console, then it's allowed to be added at the end of the video as a bonus, or whichever. You can show like some glitches or some weird stuff. It's always encouraged to show whichever you think it's cool. But if it's homebrews, or if it's whichever added by the fans with the modern technology, then like we don't really do these because they don't hold any historical value for us or for this museum, because it's not part of the original game experience. The only exception are fan translations. We do them, and we record, for example, if the game is originally only in Japanese, and if there is a fan translation online, we would record English version, even though it was never released, because it's much more.
The primary demographic is English speaking.
Yes,
so it would be better to get for that.
Yes. And the audience would be able to enjoy the game for the first time ever, and to understand what's going on. So that's the only example of fan translations. homebrews and these stuff we don't really do because, as I've said, they don't hold any historical value.
Though that does get into another question I have about language barriers, especially given that a lot of the long play community seems to be based in Europe. Do you do long plays in like Spanish, French, German, etc.?
Yes, so basically, we don't have any rules against. For example, if you want to do a game in any language, or if it's your native language, you're welcome to do it. And then when you go to the website and you go to any console, PlayStation 1, for example, and you click on a title, any title, it will say region, language, subtitle, and it will just specify which language the video has been done in, and people can know before downloading, is it in English, is it in Japanese. Really rarely we have something else than English and Japanese, so it's mostly either original Japanese release or the European or American release, but done in English. Really rarely people do any other language, although we don't we're not against it. I'd say people just, they're not interested. But if, for example, someone does a game in Spanish, for example, and then you wanna add the same game in English, you can. Even though this game has been recorded, if you wanna record the same title in different language, you can.
Okay.
If it's the official language, as I've said, apart from obviously if it's never been translated in English and there's no official English, then you can use the fan translation. But if there is official English release of the game, then you're encouraged. If you want to record different version, you're encouraged to do the original English version.
Makes sense. Though I wager that there are people who are fluent in Japanese who do the long play thing.
Yeah. So far, I don't remember. I can't recall that we had any Japanese long players in a team. But we have a lot of people from Japan watching our videos, and actually, they're originally in Japanese, and like some of the games they were only released in Japan, and there's a lot of people in the comments. Obviously, they know everything about the game. They know what's going on. So yeah, we get a lot of original audience for some of the games too. Yeah.
Well, it's definitely one of those, like, there was a lot of GBA era stuff where the more complete version of the game was in Japanese. Like, particularly the Mega Man Legend or the Mega Man Battle Network
or
games, there were
Ace Combat
of the
3
games we never got in English.
Yeah. Like as I've said, also Ace Combat 3 is released in 2-disc. Is like cutscenes. It's like more missions, and it's like a lot of cutscenes in between missions. It's like a whole video in Japanese version, 2 discs for PS1, and the US version was cut down to 1 disc with no cutscenes or anything. Right. So yeah, sometimes they were definitely more complete in the original release.
I guess for instances like that, do you prefer them to stay in like the one language, or like an extra part of the video where they like go over some of the Japanese content?
If the person is going to do Japanese version of the game, then it has to be the whole video for the same version. So we don't mix, for example, pears and apples. So it's always one version for the whole video. You can do both if you want. You can do Japanese and English. Especially if they're different, as I've said, Ace Combat 3, if they're totally different, you're encouraged to do both to show the difference, but they have to be the separate videos.
You can't do like gameplay in English for like ease of like English speakers and not just cut in the Japanese stuff that we're missing. It's either the Japanese version or the English version.
Yes. Again, exceptions are the fan translations, where instead of doing the game, if the game is Japan only released, again, if there is a fan translation in English, you can do it in English, but it has to be the whole game. Again, not mixed with it has to be the whole game in English, not like Japanese and English mixed.
Right.
There are some rules, but as I've said, we want to be consistent, and we want to have a some kind of standards, especially nowadays when it's different than what it used to be back in the day when YouTube was only starting.
Indeed. And I suppose that brings me to my last question. Do you foresee this scene lasting another 20 years?
You never know. If you ask me, definitely, I don't mind doing this. I enjoy it. I'm 40 years old at the moment, so I can see myself playing definitely for another 20 years, hopefully more. Yeah, so hopefully we're gonna keep doing what we like, and we're gonna maybe some of us get older. Maybe there's gonna be new members of the team who are gonna join also, and then like maybe continue. You never know, but hopefully in the next couple of years we're gonna cover most of the, if not all, the libraries for the retro consoles. So that the only things that are gonna be left to record would be like let's say from PS2 onwards, PS3, PS4. But these like oldest consoles would be covered 100%.
Well, and I guess there's also still the homebrew scene for the older consoles that are still getting games.
Yeah. But these homebrews, for example, if coming back to if officially the homebrew was never released, but it was fan made, we would do the game as a long play because it's completely homemade.
Well, not just that, but like completely entirely new games built by somebody as a hobbyist for the older system. Not like
yes, we would play those.
That.
Yeah, we would play those definitely. As long as I've said earlier, they're not the original game, but it's been homebrewed to change the sprites or characters. But if it's the brand new game, yeah, definitely for the older system.
Genesis or not, the Dreamcast is still getting games.
Yeah. Even the PS1 and the Genesis gets some. Yeah, we do those. We do those definitely because they're new games. They're like different titles.
Mm-hmm.
So far, like the only console
Makes
that
sense.
but PS2 and PSP, so PlayStation Portable and PlayStation 2 are the only consoles that we barely touched at the moment because there's no adequate, beside playing on the original hardware, there's no adequate emulator to do like recording for.
Good thing with the PSP is at least has video out.
Yeah.
So as long as you have a 2000 or 3000, you can at least capture off the console natively.
Yeah, and some games are quite pricey for it also nowadays. So these two consoles are still like barely touched. So we're hoping that technology will evolve in the maybe next, hopefully year or two or some, to be able to allow us to start doing those libraries because these are the only ones that we're not that we're barely touching at the moment. Everything else we can do whatever. We have resources, we have software, but these two consoles are still like they're far cry for us. We really wanna do it because PS2 has enormous library, over 4,000 games, and there's so many good games. So we definitely wanna like be like, as I've said earlier, if you wanna do this for another 20 years, I think we wanna start doing some of those to pass the time.
Makes sense. I guess the PCS X2 or what, the PlayStation 2 PC emulator isn't that far along yet?
Yes,
It's good, but you need a very powerful machine to run it well because you're basically brute forcing the code.
Yeah, the emulator is good, and actually, it can run the games perfectly. But the only problem is, like as I've said earlier, we use some of the emulators to help us to create a perfect playthrough, and it has to sync with your inputs and stuff like that because we use a lot of these like modern technology to help us run through the game in the shortest amount of time. It's called TAS, like the tool assisted long play. So it's basically, but the PS2 and PSP TAS is not on the level yet. It's still not on a proper level. So we're waiting for that to hopefully change.
Yeah, because I was doing some like emulation testing with some my old PS2 games on my PC, and I was noticing like there were definitely some input delay issues even now.
Yeah,
it definitely makes it difficult to do it more than just casually. Like if I wanted to do it for a recording session, it would be a lot harder than if I just wanted to play through something casually on my PC without pulling out the PS2.
Yeah, until they do some until it's updated and it does tasking more on a better level, then you're just reduced to the same result as you're playing on the original console. So you might as well just play on the original console. But then, as I've said, you cannot fix your mistakes. You have to do everything like old school. You have to record the game as it is. So it takes more time, more practice, and thus it takes a bigger time to complete certain game, especially on PS2 where the games are quite long. They're not really like your retro games. They became longer there in that era of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely would benefit when the tool assisted LongPlays would get to the proper level for PS2 and PSP. And also Dreamcast would be another one. Dreamcast is also
Dreamcast is one of those ones that still doesn't have a good emulator.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like these ones, we also keeping for later, and for now we're just focusing on that one.
PS2, at least you can play casually. Dreamcast is, oh god.
Yeah, definitely. Dreamcast is like that. I don't know. I don't know the good. There are some emulators, but not sure how good they are. How well
they're still not great even today. Like they're still in active development, but it's one of those things. The way the Dreamcast was made, emulation is very hard for it.
Yeah, and then there's a matter of how pricey the games for Saturn and Dreamcast have become in the last couple of years. That's another problem. They're really expensive nowadays. Mm-hmm. So you can even run it on the original hardware, which is also one of the options. But as I've said, some of the games are really pricey.
Yep.
Yeah, some of those games have always been pricey. Like I can't think of a time when, say, Panzer Dragoon Saga was cheap.
Yeah.
When you got it originally, and even that's
this is
cheap
true.
with air quotes.
Well, this is true. I had the opportunity to do that, but I went with Burning Rangers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, look, there was a lot. There was a lot of late stage Saturn games there, and I only had money enough for one.
Yeah, kind of similar. I had the opportunity to get an Ambassador 3DS, but I decided to go to a con with my now ex-girlfriend.
Mm.
Yeah, especially
I got the 3DS. I mean, wait, what?
Yeah. Especially like in Europe, Saturn was never big in Europe. I mean, it was in some parts of Europe, but where I'm coming from, it wasn't. I never saw Saturn game or Saturn console in person when I was growing up, because we were all about PS1 and N64, PS2. We never had a market for it, so a lot of games never were released here. So it's really hard to find them. Obviously, I collect games nowadays, but it's still
Saturn. They're generally holding on to them. They're not going back on the open market.
No, obviously, because nowadays the Saturn holds a value, and I collect games myself. And sometimes when I stumble upon a Saturn game, I would buy it, because although I never grew up with it, I don't have any attachment to these games. But I would still get it because I know it holds a value.
Yeah, there was a local game store in my area. I have seen a Saturn there once.
Yeah.
And it was gone the next week.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if it's good price, it will be, because in 10 years you could get triple the price what you paid for it.
Oh yeah.
Even more, quadruple price. It depends on the game.
Game and condition,
right.
Yeah.
And as enlightening as this conversation is, sadly we have reached the end of time. So Mario, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule, and also for representing the world of LongPlays community here today. It has been a very fascinating conversation, and we wish you luck in your future recording endeavors.
No problem, guys. Thank you for having me, and thank you for taking interest in what we do. And yeah, I had a great fun. Thank you for this nice conversation.
Indeed. Right. So that'll about do it for another episode of Fragments of Silicon. As always, be sure to tune in next time for our Sunday reviews. And until then, I shall wish you good gaming.